Um, I've been doing these mobile live streams this last week. I started doing them outside during the day, during the afternoon or evening, and those have been all right. But I continue to have more ideas for um, different things that I'd like to test out, and I do really like the energies of night. I like how it feels easier for me to connect to higher energies at night. It's kind of like when other people go to sleep, for the most part, there's like this collective distraction that just melts away. It's kind of also something to do with the sun going down. And both yesterday and today, I did try um, to start doing a live stream, like a desktop one with a webcam. And so those are a horizontal like landscape format, and I think they have a bit of a different way that the algorithm works for potentially finding viewers. So I've had some, at least in this last week, with the other videos that I've made, I've had a bit more success with the vertical format videos, which has got me back on my phone here to kind of see what comes about from it. Um, because a big reason that I'm wanting to get into doing videos like this is to have the participation. Hello, welcome. Nice to see you. Feel free to ask me a question. The intention of these videos is largely to do with um, me stepping into my channeling ability more and more. And the best way to bring that forward is to have other people ask me their questions, especially if it's something important and like relevant to your life that you really feel like you could use guidance with. Um, it's something I'd really like to get into the practice of reaching out and asking and perhaps pulling through an answer that could be really helpful to any of you out there who are seeking guidance with something. And I'm really looking forward to the point of growing this channel to where the audience participation can increase. What's my favorite show? Well, um, so I guess where my mind jumps are rather than my favorite shows, the most recent shows that I've watched have been Has Been Hotel, and then I watched Hell of a Boss on YouTube. Because those are related. So that was pretty fun. I was kind of entertained, and they kind of really made me think about. We're told about some of these things being good and bad, and like this concept of heaven and hell and good and evil, and you know, I wonder how much do we really need to buy into a certain thing being good and a certain thing being bad, or like this one being apparently being a fallen angel, and no, don't listen to him, but then it's like, okay, our favorite show. Hello, welcome, Dark Lord. See, that's kind of like just the thing. It's like we're told this whole narrative about light and dark, but how do you really know what's what? My favorite movie? Oh, well, I suppose if I think an all-time favorite movie, like, it's probably like Terminator 2. That was a really good one. I also really like, there's some comedies I like Hot Fuzz. That one's pretty funny. Um, Interstellar was pretty good, actually, but yeah, um, it's interesting sometimes kind of thinking about like movies and shows and when they can really inspire us and stir something up within us and how we might kind of feel something different as a result. How long have I been doing lives? I just started doing lives 1 week ago, and all the other ones that I did were outside, like during the afternoon or evening. Um, but I want to keep trying new things, and so I'm just starting out with trying to do these late night ones. I was trying to do it like on my laptop as a horizontal format, but I think the algorithm doesn't really pick up enough people that way since I don't, have too much of an audience yet. Um, so I decided to try a vertical format on my phone instead. Oh, you watched one of my lives? Nice. Yeah. So yeah, this is a completely different time. It's almost midnight here, actually. So, I guess the intention is to really find new people who want to participate, ask questions, and offer subjects to talk about. But I do really kind of like the like how the energy feels at night. I tend to feel more connected with like galactic wisdom. I don't know. Do any of you out there feel like you could use some galactic wisdom in your lives? uh, it may be too much of a niche thing that I'm looking to fill, but 12:42 a.m. there. Oh, I guess you must be in like mountain time. It's where I was living before was in mountain time, but I'm on the coast now, at least for a while. Yeah, seems like the show Stranger Things. Um, no, I'm not too familiar with it. Although I wonder if people who are too think I'm one of the Stranger Things. I guess sometimes I just still feel like I'm finding a way forward for myself. I'm. It's like I'm feeling this real strong call to action, in a sense, from the universe or whatever you want to call it. But I'm not really sure how to fulfill it yet, or what are the appropriate steps for me to take to kind of get where I need to be with utilizing the abilities that I have to help others. If anyone new is joining on, feel free to ask a question. These are intended to be more about channeling higher energy, something that I'd like to get into more. I don't know. Do you, out there, of you who may be watching, how many of you believe in extraterrestrials? I wonder. Go ahead and post in the chat. I feel like I really like exploring the subjects that are, well, kind of like Stranger Things. the Stranger Things, although I'm probably horribly misquoting the show since I haven't seen it. Are my parents divorced? Yeah, absolutely they are. They are very, very divorced. My parents divorced when I was 2 years old, so that was like 33 years ago. Um, yeah, I never knew my parents to be together. And yeah, but I'm not sure, like the whole concept of how your parents are divorced. Yeah, sorry to hear that. Are you like younger? Um, they got divorced when you were 6. Yeah, that must have been really tough to go through because to be at like such an impressionable age, and I'm sure there was a ton of drama that went with a divorce like that. Ah, you're 10. Well, do you feel like things have kind of resolved now with that? Like things are a good situation now, or is it still difficult? Hmm. Yeah, it's sometimes I wonder if um marriage and divorce, if couples are trying to put too much on themselves or expect too much of each other. Like if people are really supposed to just rely on that one other person to kind of like be their other half. I don't know. I I wonder if human society could be better if it was more like tribal living, or at least if it was more communal, if kids could be raised together and play together more, kind of regardless of who's you know who their parents are. Your stepmom and your mom are friends. You know, it's weird. Well, I mean, it's better that they are than not. Um, there was really like a lot of tension between my parents um, when I was growing up. Custody battles and court stuff, and they really kind of feels like they really kind of hated each other. So I really felt caught in between that at some point. Do I have siblings? No, I don't, and I mean I feel like I wish that I did, and it feels kind of unfortunate the way that that worked out. Um, I do have two stepbrothers, although um, I'm not sure if one of them is still alive or not. So that's a little concerning. But yeah, before my parents had me, a couple years before that, there was an abortion, a baby that they had that was aborted. So, and my dad, he told me one time that he kind of regretted that because he's like, well, you would have had an older sister if not for that. And then after I was born, a couple years after, I guess my mom had a miscarriage. So yeah, I ended up being the only one um, until I was about 8 years old, and my dad got with a new girlfriend um, who had she had two boys, one my age and one a few years older, and they got together, but then she died of breast cancer a couple years later, and my dad adopted those kids, and it kind of felt like my relationship with my dad was never really the same after. Oh, you have one sibling, but your mom had two miscarriages. You have an older sister. She's 12. Well, yeah, I'm glad that you did get a sibling, a sister. You know, it's unfortunate sometimes to think what could have been when it comes to miscarriages and abortions and divorces, and it's can be a heavy subject for sure. Do you have a um, do you have a good relationship with your sister? I don't know. Sometimes I wonder. There's like things that we get to experience in this life, and things that others do and we don't, and like when it comes to family, or having brothers or sisters or not, or having parents that are together or not. It's like, and then that kind of thing, like, I mean, at least it has left me wondering at times, like, could I have had a better experience? Should I have had a better experience if I had been able to have my childhood be any different, whether it's family dynamics or if I got to express myself more. It's good to hear that you're close. I kind of wonder how things are going to turn out for this new generation, because it's like things are changing so fast year over year now, with technology and AI, and you look nothing alike, huh? Hmm. Well, maybe you will when you're older. I don't know. I guess that's all right though. Don't need to look too alike. Make sure I have this on the right setting. I'm blonde. She's dirty blonde. I have blue eyes. She has brown eyes. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of nice to have variety between y'all. Like, I I think it's kind of funny sometimes when siblings look like too similar, look like they look like copies of each other. But she's tall and I'm short. Well, you said you're 10, right? And she's 12. Um, and usually girls will um, reach their full height before uh, boys do. Actually, I didn't ask if what I don't think I asked what gender you were. That was just a guess. Um, yeah, that just occurred to me that I didn't know if you're a boy or a girl. But I guess my own experience that I can speak from is that, I kind of felt like I was decent height compared to my peers until when I was 15, I just like stopped growing and they like kept growing a few more years. So, oh, you're a girl. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's more of a fair playing field, but you never know what'll happen over the next few years, right? Um, and I guess there's like exercises um, when you're like that age, younger age. There's exercises you could do to help promote like height increase and growth. It's just stuff that I wish I would have known about when I was that age. Because when you get past like 18, there's not much to be done about that. It's interesting sometimes like how our bodies can change if we have like a certain intention. Hmm. I feel like I'm still getting it's like part of me that's still getting comfortable figuring. Oh, do you have tips for starting school not to embarrass myself? Yeah, I think that I think especially among kids, there's there's a big fear of embarrassment, and when I was that age, I was definitely really concerned, like that I didn't want to embarrass myself, and I think that it kind of became like a self imprisonment, also to go along with always feeling like I had to act like an adult or always behave or something. And looking back now, if I could do it all over again, I would I would rather feel more comfortable in being more unique and just showing more of my expression, my more unique personality, saying exactly how I felt or what I thought. And I think that I may have had fewer acquaintances as a result, but I would have had more friends. Um, I think it's important to show like who we really are to other people, to not be afraid to show who we really are. You know, I think it's good to not be afraid to be unique, and I think that that can really attract other people and friends because we'll stand out more that way. Hmm. I think I'm still kind of learning how to accept myself fully, how to like let go of fear of what other people think, and to learn to just be and not feel like I need to be acting through something. I like not feeling that I need to act a certain way because it can just get so exhausting if we're trying to put up a front. Um, Trying to act a certain way because we think that others might prefer it. but what if we're wrong in that? Like, what if those other people would really prefer us to be just exactly who we are? What if you had trauma last year? What do you do? What kind of drama? Would you like to share more specifically what it was? Yeah, so it's funny. I don't think too much about the time of the year in context of school anymore, but it's like, yeah, it's July, so is it kind of like that's still haunting over you over your summer vacation, and you're just worried how to like do things different when you come back? I mean, I think the best thing is if you can let go of it, if you can like girls betraying you. Yeah, um, and friends trining, trining on each other. I'm not sure what you mean there, but yeah, you mentioned the thing like girls betraying you. Um, so there was a while I was on Discord, and for a few months earlier this year, I was really helping out with kind of a therapy server, and there were there were a lot of like younger turning on each other. Okay, friends turning on each other and betraying each other. Yeah, it sounds like that's something from from my experience with that one Discord server earlier this year. That there was really a lot of that there's really a lot of that going on among, especially among like girls, like younger teenage girls and that kind of thing. And I mean, I wish I could tell you what it was or why. I have no idea. But as far as how do you get through that? How do you navigate that? It's like I think there's a point that you need to come to, or just anyone needs to come to, about sort of letting go of being concerned about what's going on with anyone else, even if we may try to make these friends with these other people and then find that they betray us. And it can be very unfortunate when we put like a lot of stake in those relationships, like, and let people in and become close and really like care for our friends, and then they go and hurt us. And the reason why it hurts is because we're opening our heart to other people to like let them in and make this stronger connection, and then they like sever that in a very abrupt way. I know that the answer is not to stop letting people in or to close our hearts off, but I think it's to let go of individual attachment. Ideally, if we each could learn to live our life where we have an open heart and we're going forward in our life in our own personal expression and sharing that own personal expression, but then releasing um, any concept of like expectation of how we're expecting others to interact with us, rather just allowing whatever comes um, with other people, like whether they like us or not, the more we can be authentic and individual and kind of like show our unique gifts, the more unique relationships and dynamics can be created that won't be so easily replicated and won't be so easily abandoned. Am I the Messiah? I am the mess. I am a Messiah. That's, oh man, that word's kind of tripping me up. I don't know. I think anyone can be a Messiah. I'm the Messiah of right now for this video. How about that? But if I were a Messiah, what would you want to ask me? You know, it might be a real good opportunity. Um, yeah, so I don't know if Tristan, if that helps, um, but you're welcome to say more about it if you'd like a more specific insight. I'm just uh, kind of seeing what comes up and, you know, saying what comes to mind. Hopefully, it's something useful. Oh, yeah, you're welcome. I guess I just encourage you, as well as anyone else, to just be daring, be yourself. You know, always say how you feel and what you think. Be open and honest with everyone around you, and I think life will go easier. To include, like, if you have a friend that things are starting to feel weird with, you know, just ask them right away, like, what's going on. But it can be hard to reach other people sometimes. Sometimes others will become really closed off or not really want to say what's going on. But there's always other people to meet. What days do I go live? Well, I just started doing these live streams a week ago, so I haven't really fallen into. Um, I guess I haven't had enough time to establish like a consistent pattern, except for to say that I've actually been doing them every day this last week, just because I've really had a lot of energy, and I'm kind of still figuring out how to best apply that energy. But um, I have been enjoying doing these live streams, you know, especially when there is like a kind of a conversation, like a dialogue, at least going in the chat. It you know, it helps me feel like I can keep the ball rolling on something, and like I'm able to provide potentially insight for someone. Um, I think what becomes difficult for me is if that kind of runs out and I feel like I'm left to my own device to figure out what to say in the interim, especially sometimes on these live streams where, you know, I'll see the little count of people that are watching, and sometimes there will be a few people that come in really quick, and I'm thinking it's like, oh, well, I got to figure out how to hook them to be able to say something in the live chat to ask me and start to like get engaged. But it's like until they do say something, I'm like, well, okay, what am I talking about here? I don't know. It's like I don't know. I guess the attention span of people these days is kind of a double-edged sword because on one hand, it's it's like allowing this greater turnover of people to come on and off, um, which is like opening up a greater potential of people who might see this live stream and at least like get an idea of, if they want to participate in it or not. But at the same time, it's like some people are, you know, like gone so quick. It's like, okay, well, I wonder if, if they'd ask a question or participate, maybe I could be of service to them. Do I like slime? I'm not sure what that is. Is that like a some internet thing? Man, I feel like I'm really out of touch. Uh, I don't know. Words could mean anything these days, right? So I wonder. It's like pop culture used to be a more unified thing, but I think now people have branched out so much in different directions. Or maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the one that's branched out, or you know, maybe to some other people's eyes, like living under a rock, living under a rock of my own choosing. As I ramble on into the night, it's this thing when you mix glue and this thing called activator. Um, hmm, like one of those weird kind of things to play with. I don't know. I seem to remember something like that when I was 10 years old, but I don't think I've seen that since. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, no, gosh, I feel like when I was that age, I was just wanting to escape from reality most of the time, like play video games or something. Maybe it was my living situation that made me feel that way. But sometimes, do I think elephants are cool? Oh, of course. Yeah, I mean, elephants are, I mean, they have the largest brain, of course, of any land mammal, or probably anything second to like a whale. Um, so, I can only imagine what elephants might possibly be thinking. Maybe they're really intelligent. Do I know the game of Fortnite? Yeah, I'm somewhat familiar with it, but I never got into it or played it. But yeah, I do hear that Fortnite is all the rage among the younger generation. Um, the game, one of the games that I've been kind of into lately is a Pal World. Uh, it's kind of an indie game, monster catching game, but that's been fun. Do I know Roblox? No, I don't think I know that one. Hmm. I guess it would be helpful if on some of these live streams, I just had like some kind of background content to go to. What time do I end the live? Any of these live streams that I've started, I really haven't had a specific end time. I've kind of just kept going with them until I felt like doing something else. And they've kind of tended, at least the ones I've been doing during the day, have tended to go on longer than I may have originally expected. But sometimes, like, especially if there's like a lot of audience participation, I tend to just like get rolling with it. And, you kind of say like lose track of time, but I don't think I ever really had track of time to begin with. I don't really bother to keep track of time so much anymore or schedule things. And really, when it comes to the other live streams, the only reason I was having them be any kind of consistent time is just to try to hopefully build kind of an audience base, and try to find like an ideal time to where people would be able to tune into it. But how many subscribers do I have? I think I have 109 now. I actually got like four more on the live stream that I did earlier today, so that was pretty cool. But this channel I started about a year and a half ago, and I didn't do any live videos or any videos like this at the time. Like the videos I was doing were really different. They were um, videos where I would bring a message through and I would type it, and then I would uh, edit the journal entry, and then I'd like voice act it. And I had a 3D avatar program that I was using to like put all this stuff together. It was really like a lot of work to do that, and it really kind of bombed. It felt like, I don't know. I had made probably like, I don't know, 20 or 30 videos for the channel those first few months, and it got to almost 100 subscribers after like letting it sit a year, but it just felt like it wasn't really going anywhere with what I was doing. So it was just this last week I felt inspired to start doing live streams and to like be creating these different kind of videos. And yeah, I've gained like 12 subscribers, I think, in just this last 7 days. So um, that's that's nice. So hopefully, if I can keep that up, I'll be able to start really growing the channel, which then should have a run-on effect because it's gonna make these live streams really like gain steam or gain momentum and start flowing better. So right now, I've just kind of feels like I'm wanting to push it, but it feels like I'm trying to push a boulder uphill. you know, but it's like I've got all this energy and desire to get things going. It's just I don't really know how, or I don't know if I'm just not being patient enough with it. Maybe I just need to be more patient with myself sometimes, or learn to relax more, or just trust the trust the flow of things. There's times where I just feel like it's like, oh, I'd kind of like to just stop talking for like a minute, but it's kind of hard to maintain a live video if I stop talking. I don't know. You have to go to bed. Hope your live stream goes well. Good night. Yeah, thanks for joining on, and thanks for sharing the stuff you shared and asking questions. Definitely, helps me out, giving me something to go off of and talk about. So yeah, I hope you have a good night, and I think things will go great for you next year at school. So yeah, I guess in these times in between having interaction with others, I plan on just kind of settling down into. I don't know if you'd. Oh yeah, look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Settle down into finding like what is this baseline energy that I'm feeling. Is it my own, or are there others that are wanting to come through? mm. I really like kind of the idea of us being more interconnected with surrounding energies, of our extended environment. And what is distance really when it comes to energy? Is distance, we think of things being far away in this physical world, but if that were all programmed like a programmed illusion, you know, it's kind of like if you were in a video game, if you were a video game character and you were going across the video game map, you would feel like things are a certain distance or far away, but really it's all just lines of computer code, and there is no distance. And so maybe some of these things that we think are far away, maybe they're available just like right here. Like that there is no distance, there is no separation, that everything that we might desire really can be created in our immediate vicinity and in our immediate now moment. Hmm. I like to think about what might be possible and explore that and have discussions with others, little fireside chats. Gotta have the fireside chat about talking about like what really is possible in our lives and in our experiences. Yes. Because I mean, we've all got to have like such unique ideas and perspectives. And if we could really get comfortable and confident with stepping forward and sharing those unique ideas and perspectives and like really listening to each other, I mean, what potential awaits. You know, it's like I'd want to ask people, like, what is that most exciting idea, that biggest, most, maybe outlandish idea, but maybe if we had like the courage to like talk about those things and to really feel into them fully, there's something new that could be created, something profound. It's like, for me, I don't know what that thing is yet, but I know that there are certain feelings that I've had during certain experiences, perhaps some slightly mind altering experiences, but I know that there's other ways of like feeling that same like emotion, that same sense of bliss or euphoria or excitement. And what are the things that can create that can sustain that? And is it something different for each of us, or are there things that we might find as we talk more to others and go deeper, that we have things that are shared closely in common, deep, like primal or core desires, that we could find a new way towards, like a new way of living on this planet, in our cultures and societies. Although, what is culture anymore? Or is there a new culture we can create? I think I'm learning to trust, to just go with things, to not worry too much about how things happen, how things look. I guess it's what it really is finding the flow state. And I wonder if the flow state looks the same for each of us, or does it look different for each of us? I think there's a certain aspect of it of letting go, of it's kind of like finding oneself in a river and just allowing oneself to be swept up by the current. And not fighting it. But are we all on the same river? I think there are different kinds of flow states depending on one's intentions. Yeah, because it's sort of like maybe we're choosing what river we want to flow in. Maybe instead of this flow being limited to one direction, it can be in any direction we want to go in, like multidimensionally. And really, we're just allowing our energy to open up and receive this greater flow of energy. To explore directions that we might not have thought possible. And then, if so many of us were to open up to do that, I can only imagine what that might look like playing out. Like a great improvisational skit of actors on stage where they're really just letting loose with their own agenda to progress their direction of energy and story, and just how that might play out. But I suppose in thinking about that, I could imagine sort of conflicting energies or chaos going different directions. But I suppose the natural order and flow of things rather brings us into alignment with others who are having a similar direction, which is then strengthening and building upon the other's energy. Growing energy. Do I believe we are all in the same cosmic ocean? The law of one type shit. Um, yeah, so I have to kind of think back to that. So I do remember reading like the raw material, the law of one, but I think it's been several years since I've looked at it. So I'm not like a zealot or whatever. And I agree with. I think when it comes to that stuff, I agree with some of it, not all of it. Um, I tend to have kind of a yes and mentality. Like, read something like that and say, yes, this is correct, but also there's this other point of view that is also correct. As far as cosmic ocean, I I think that there's so many different ways that things could be described and perceived, because you really could consider everything as a cosmic ocean, or being like all things are one, and us all like being a part of that. But that description is not particularly useful at times. And if that description is used to then dismiss um, what defines us, then that is not serving the whole. there are really so many perspectives um, to view, to see, to come from. So I think there are times when it's useful to see things as one, and there are times where it's useful to see things as separate. And the only problems that happen is one when one of those perspectives becomes the all that is, when it's seen as the only answer. What are your views on it? Likewise, what is your opinion on rapture visions people have been having since the God man ascended? Visions people have been having since the God man ascended. Okay, so my idea on the rapture and kind of like, I think what you're saying is what people have kind of thought about it since I guess you're probably referring to like Christ. Well, there are quite a few common themes among different religions, and I think there is a grain of truth to many of those common themes. However, a lot of the stories and concepts have been misused by religion to provoke fear. So, with a concept like the rapture, there is a perspective of looking at it that may be absolutely true, and um, there is also there are perspectives of looking at it that may be absolutely false. So I seem to remember reading this like children's book when I was, I don't know, in fourth or fifth grade or something, and I didn't know what it was about at the time. I'm like, oh, it's this book, and I started reading it, and like at the beginning of the book, like half the people like disappeared off the planet and only their clothes were left, and it's like, oh yes, well, they were the chosen ones, and everyone else, gets to be punished or something. um yeah, so no, I don't think the rapture is like people are just going to disappear in the blink of an eye and leave their clothes behind, and that only the righteous ones prevail or something like that. But I do think that there's something about ascension of energies. I think it is very gradual. It's something I could say that I've experienced, um, because I know that my energy has changed extensively in the last 10 years and continues to do so. And I can feel how this has begun to separate me in certain ways from perhaps older situations or scenarios I may have, used to have to deal with. And so I do feel like I'm on an ascension path. I feel like others are on an ascension path. And one could tie that in with the concept of rapture if they were to think of it in that if they were to reach a certain like vibration that they might then be able to in a sense ascend and um, leave the planet. But I guess another view I have about that is that I don't think that we're like trapped here in any way. I don't think that in being here in these bodies in this presentation that we have left spirit. Like I think it's a common theme for people to think that we incarnate and then while we're incarnated our presence is fully here, and then when we die, perhaps it's kind of like waking up from a dream, but our awareness returns back home, back somewhere else, or whether it's to heaven or this or that. I don't see us as ever leaving those places. I don't see us as ever leaving the fullness of who we are as spirit. Rather, I just think that this is kind of like being here on earth incarnate as human. It's kind of just like playing a game, like a scenario, like a virtual reality, except for we're taking this one more seriously than if we're playing like Grand Theft Auto or on PlayStation or whatever. I do think we are one, given the fact that most people have life reviews in their NDEs, and they are able to actually feel the other people's feelings also. To me, it's a strong and insightful phenomenon that highlights the law of one. Yeah. Well, we are all very like we all have the potential to be very aware and receptive of energy. What gets in the way of that often is the illusion of separation that is kind of largely created and maintained by the sense of the physical world and of our physical bodies. And when we are able to let go of that, like somebody who's having a near death experience and they're having this period of time where they are actually becoming disconnected in that time frame, forcefully disconnected from their body and experiencing without it, they're suddenly having this rush of becoming much more receptive to these other energies because they're that mechanism that's usually keeping them as feeling separate isn't in place for that time. And there can be a lot that's in common between NDE experiences. There can also be quite a bit of variation. And I think the variation, like what's in common can really show how much things are one and like a certain kind of common thread and theme of things. But then the variation rather shows the power of us individually as creators to have an experience that is tailored to us based on what it is that we believe and what we want to believe. And these are beliefs that go beyond um, an individual incarnation. Hmm. There, there had been a while or times before where it was kind of my desire to want to have like out of body experiences. And perhaps I would still like to have those kind of experiences. They may be interesting, but I think I've kind of settled more into a like a feeling that where I need to go with my energy and consciousness, I also need to take my body with me. Um, do I believe in infinity? I do. And here's why. When I think of source being, like the all that is, I think of it, and I feel that I have been shown this, that it really can create whatever it wants collectively because it also creates time. So there's not really, when you're not running out of anything to measure something by, it can just keep going and going. You desire out of body experiences also, and I'm looking forward to having them. Yeah, earlier this year I had started following along with the listening to the Gateway meditations, and I think those were a worthwhile exploration. Um, and I think I should probably get back into doing them more because it could teach me some more kind of solid skills that could um, lead toward me having being able to have more reliable out of body experiences. But on the other hand, when you think about it or hear different perspectives on it, it's kind of also something that we do perhaps every night, and that we're just not really remembering. It's like it's not being communicated to our, um, like physical brain. And I feel like I have all these past life memories that I don't have access to, and I want to know like how to make that link happen because I can feel the past life events through the heart and they'll weigh on me sometimes, but I often don't know exactly what it was that happened, with exception of there's been a few dreams that I had before that through that mechanism I was able to get get a couple of experiences. Let's see. Yeah, I also need to get back into the Gateway tapes also. The way I see things is like, how can one say that there is infinity and that energy can't be created nor destroyed? No, yeah. Yeah, energy can absolutely be created and destroyed. And well, I mean, it's, you know, the so-called laws of physics that said that were, you know, looking at something through a very narrow dimensional lens. Um, I feel like there are perhaps a certain kind of rules or agreements that apply to this world, which may not be like entirely real, but it's kind of like rules of kind of like in the movie The Matrix. Like the Matrix, there has certain rules, and it's like, oh, anybody who's participating in this simulation has to play by these rules. But when I think about the bigger picture of like the universe and other worlds and realms and dimensions, it's like there's so much more to it. And I really, when I think infinite, I'm not really thinking about like somebody's taking a snapshot and that snapshot never ends. I think of it as like you can't really take a snapshot because it's kind of like there being no stop to it, no reason for there to be a particular boundary. Or I mean, I'm kind of getting the idea of like a tree growing. And like, what if you planted a tree seed and you wanted to calculate exactly how that tree would grow, like atom by atom? I could pretty well say that there would be an infinite variation to how that tree would look atom by atom at the end of its growth. And so that's something that's infinite. Oh, thanks for the subscription. Let me know if I'm talking out my ass. I don't know. It's just whatever comes to mind. I don't know if it makes any sense or not, but yeah, if sub count is a goal or makes me happy or grateful, well, um, yeah, I was saying earlier in this live stream, I started this channel a year ago, and I was doing very different videos that were taking a lot of time to create, actually. And I didn't really feel like I was getting much traction, and I did sort of run out of steam and stop bothering to make or upload anything for almost a year. It's only been in this last week that I had the inspiration to start doing these live videos and try like a different approach. Um, and I feel much more successful in this approach now, not necessarily because I'm getting like more subscribers per video, but rather that the way that I'm doing things now just feels so easeful. It's like it feels like no effort at all. Um, it feels fun. And so, from that perspective, and that kind of approach to it, I can go into it not really being concerned about how the numbers play out. But it does excite me, the idea of getting more subscribers, because if I could be having these kind of live streams and these kind of conversations more and be having a growing interaction to like keep the ball rolling, and it makes me think like a snowball rolling downhill, that would be a lot of fun. And hey man, if it's something I could eventually make some kind of income from, that would be great, because you know I would absolutely love to be stepping into the role of channeling higher energy for the benefit of people and be able to have some amount of security in life doing that. So, hey, let's see. You're making perfect sense, and I love these kind of conversations, brother. Thank you. I really like these kind of, you know, fireside chats as well. I like kind of going to that little bit deeper level than most conversations go. Um, because I think that when we do that, there's something that we can discover about ourselves. I mean, I feel like I'm discovering a lot of things about myself just this last week doing these. Is there any specific source that helped you learn to channel higher energies? Um, so yeah, when it comes to channeling higher energies, it's been something it's kind of captured my excitement for a few years now. Like a few years ago, I would say I started watching um, a couple channelers on YouTube, um, mostly like kind of regularly. And I do remember there was a period of time where I wasn't like, I guess, totally convinced by it, you could say. And I was like listening to the information, but it was kind of like having like one foot in the pool, one foot out, where I'm like, okay, I don't really know if I really, believe this or not. And over time, just kind of the resonant energy of things got me more and more comfortable with the idea, to where when I'd be watching these other people do it, like eventually there would just start to be the removal of any doubt, and I could just feel more connected. And so once I really started to believe it more for myself, the question kind of became like, ooh, this is something that seems really exciting. How would I be able to like get into doing this? And for a while, it really seemed like something that it would just kind of like the idea of it sounded so foreign. Like, well, how do you do this thing that we're not taught in school, like how to do it, because it's something that's so like using our brain in a very different way than um, how we typically use it for the normal like five sense reality. So I guess where it really started for me, um, was with the help of psychedelic mushrooms. Um, Kind of helped break down some of those initial barriers. Um, and it really started with me. Uh, at the time, I was referring to it as channeling my higher self, that I had met. And that went on for a while. There was a couple years where that was fairly exclusive to like being associated with like having some mushrooms. But as I got away from like having any of those kind of experiences, there was this, I guess, graduation into being able to tap into those same energies while completely sober. Um, and really, it was um, last year, um, which went along with when I started this YouTube channel. If you were to look back to my videos, I have one that's called Uh, it's the Channeling the Pashas series, and it's like the first video in that, like the introduction. And that was really the first time that I had uh, channeled like another group, like of beings, of like, you know, what some would refer to as like extraterrestrials or that kind of thing. And that I had like journaled about it and wrote it down, and then, you know, proceeded to like share it and publish it. And I remember when I was first making contact with them, it's so interesting sometimes the way that the synchronicities and patterns play out, because, you know, in this channel I talk about the Pashas and I talk about the Irma a lot because they're felines, and I have a very strong spiritual connection with them, given that I've had numerous lifetimes as like part of the Irma or the Lyrans, like felines. So they're kind of like my kin. But I guess at the time, I didn't have quite the same level of awareness of that. And I just had like this excitement to pursue trying to find any like other source of information about like the Irma or the felines that I could. Um, and I actually started like looking through YouTube comments about on some of the videos that have been posted on other channels about the Irma, because there's not like a lot of other channels on YouTube that necessarily talk about the Irma. Um, and I think I commented to somebody on there, and they replied and they said, "Hey, you need to check out this book. It's called The Lion People by Murray Hope." And so I got that book and the sequel to it, and I read it, and I wasn't halfway through the book, and like I remember I was going to sleep one night, and I had I had this feeling, and I had this feeling going to sleep, and there was this intention like to connect, and like I knew it was time, and I ended up having this dream where the Pashas came to me in the dream, and they like put me on this. They had me lay back on this healing table, and they were like doing energetic work on me, and then I think a few days later, um, I kind of had the inspiration to just try to reach out to them. And if you go back and watch that video, the one I have introducing the Pashas, I'll talk about on there how there was like kind of this change in mentality. Instead of feeling like it was a difficult thing to make this connection with this particular group, I kind of had this shift in mentality where it's like, well, they're already making the connection. I already, you know, it's done, it's happened, it's there. I just need to tap into it and utilize it. Like I, you know, to step up into making the connection. And I just started essentially talking to them every day. And at first, it was something that I really had to eliminate any distraction, and, you know, have it be 3:30 in the morning. And, you know, my method would be to like receive their message in my mind, like telepathically, and I would type it out, and I would type out the dialogue of the questions that I would be asking them, and their response coming through. And so that's how I made those first dozen videos or so involving the Pashas. Is um, they were just journalings that I then recorded the voice of, and, you know, the avatar for later. Um, But what I've really been stepping into now is wanting to do those channeled messages in a live and like direct to video format, because then there's like this additional layer of energy and authenticity behind it, but also like presence, um, and immediacy that can happen with it. Um, and I find that I kind of had fallen out of like the regular practice of channeling for a while, because it felt like, left on my own, there wasn't like enough of a reason, there wasn't enough things for me to want to ask about to like justify making that connection so often. But if I can have others come in and participate and ask questions, then I could really pull things through better. Let's see. Okay, let me catch up on the chat here. Whoop. Oh boy. Do I think that Satan is really the God this world, or that Satan is just our egos, failures, and limitations of the human condition? Um, yeah, so I've kind of been wondering recently about like these names or concepts like Satan or like Lucifer and whatever, and you know, you're you'll hear you'll hear people talk about Satanists, or you'll hear them talk about Luciferians, and it's like I I I can't say for sure like who's good and who's bad, because you know like all we know is what we've been told by, you know like we don't really know the true answer to like any of these things, because it could all just be an inversion, right? Even like the name like Lucifer is supposed to mean like a light bringer. So you know, it's like, well, wait, so what is it then? And I've kind of internally been asking myself that this last few weeks. And I guess the idea that I get is that names are just kind of names, and that they don't really mean anything except for what people attribute to those names themselves. And I don't think it does any good to have like fear of a particular name. It makes me think like Harry Potter, like he who must not be named. But oh, let's see. I really like mushrooms a lot. Yeah. When used right, it can be so mentally helpful. Yeah, there's a few substances, particularly a few plant medicines that, like you said, when used right, when used respectfully and not abused, they certainly can be helpful. Um, and I've had a number of good experiences that have helped me in my journey, but I've also come to a point where I don't need like I don't need that for what I'm doing now. And in fact, it doesn't work for me to try to use anything to, boost my ability or anything. I mean, I am kind of figuring out, because I do want to get more in touch, more in tune, and more connected, and better with bringing energy through. I'm basically just trying to get really healthy um, with my diet and habits. So, and actually, just today, just earlier in the other live stream that I did, um, was encouraged by my guides to start doing a fast, but a little bit of a different kind of one. So that's going to be interesting. Um, have I heard of John of God? And if so, who do you think are the closest, best energy work practitioner? Um, no, I don't know what you mean by John of God, but maybe I don't know if there's another way to explain it. Hmm. I know I would like to connect with some angels more. Um, like there was one I was introduced to a few months ago named Archangel Zadkiel, who I hadn't heard the name of before, but it was an energy that was introduced to me as such. And I remember on the one night really kind of helped helped me get in the right state of being. I kind of wonder if one of them would like to come through me at some point for one of these. Which I guess is something that I could try since I'm caught up on the chat. In the gospel is go spell, then in temples, churches, preach from pole to pit as a getting to heaven. Just so crazy to me. Yeah. Like what if we just had the mentality that we are already experiencing heaven, that so yeah, I don't know if it cut out there for a second, but I was just saying, what if heaven is just how we choose to see the world, what we create around us? Like how does that change how we're going about these lives here compared to striving for something later? Hmm. I'm kind of curious if there's any energies that would like to come through me right now to assist in this idea of bringing heaven to earth. It's like, if only I could share what I feel more effectively. Because, so much about channeling. It's not just the words. It's not just the message comes through. It's very profound energies, very, very profound feelings that often I will feel greatly uplifted by. And sometimes I don't really know exactly how to convey that. But I guess learning to be patient, learning a little bit of a challenge on a live stream like this is feeling the need to continue to speak. Whereas making these channeled connections often takes a couple minutes to fully establish and bring through the energy to speak through me. I like to get quicker at it. Do I have a favorite religion, myth, god, or deity? Um, I think I'm not terribly familiar with it, but Druidism sounds pretty cool. And like Keranos. um, Although Keranos was, I guess, made out to be a devil by Christianity, because they didn't like, you know, people were like having another god. um, I do, in general, um, kind of like the ideas of polytheism and just like these ideas that there are these many different gods with different specialties, because I think that there's a lot of truth to that um, there are spirits who choose to specialize in becoming the masters of certain things, and so it's kind of a shame if you just like throw all that out and say, oh well, there's can only be one god. It's like, well, that sounds dumb. I mean, sure, there's still like when you turn everything into a single collective, it's like, yeah, it's going to be one thing. Okay, there's the one single all that is. Great. Well, but don't just say that that's all that there is the one all that, you know, all that is, because you're skimming over and missing all this other stuff that could be fun to experience. Um, but I do think that a lot of um, basically all these different myths and religions and gods and deities, I think they are all real. I think they're all based in some level of reality and understanding, and perhaps some of that, of what continues to sustain them, is just the energy of belief of the people that follow them. Kind of like if they were social media influencers or something. But yeah, I do think Keranos is kind of cool because he's more of a nature guy, and also like more in touch with animals, and kind of about that whole what do you call it, like fertility thing, because I tend to feel that humanity has gotten so like uptight about sexuality, and that there should just be a lot more freedom around that. And you can also kind of think of some of the gods as really just being the planets. I love Jesus. I also like the ethos and logos of Christ. Can agree with most of what you're saying. Yeah, I do like Jesus a lot. Um, I'd like to channel Jesus, but I don't know. That might be a touchy subject for people. I never have tried to. Um, but I think that I was kind of talking about this a couple days ago in one of the live streams because somebody was coming on and mentioning Bible verses and Jesus and stuff, and kind of asking questions about that. And I was saying how I really believe, what people would refer to as the second coming of Christ to be a collective energy rather than an individual reincarnation. Um, I think that Jesus was really, a really special spirit to incarnate as human at that time and be able to have the impact that he did, like that bravery and courage. Um, but the world has stepped up a lot in consciousness and energy and awareness, and there are many more people who can embody that same level of energy now, and it wouldn't stand out as much as it did back then because the world was kind of shit at the time. So of course he really shone like a very bright light at the time, but now in this world it's really up to each one of us to embody that kind of energy and bring it forward for the betterment of all of us here in mankind. Um, yeah, since you're asking about channeling, so I was saying I've thought about trying to channel him before. I haven't tried to. Um, I've had other people tell me that they do. Um, so I could give it a go. I would like to connect with the energy of the spirit known as Jesus or Yeshua. Please come to me now and help me feel your energy. And I encourage you to speak through me with the message that would be of the greatest benefit at this time. Sending my love, and we're working on establishing the connection. It's like in my mind's eye, I'm seeing like this light from above, like this kind of like radiant star. It's very serene energy I'm feeling, calming, encouraging me to relax and slow. Perhaps you, anyone watching, can reach out with me and feel what I'm feeling. It's a radiant light. Let me see. I'm not getting a particular message yet. We're just, I guess, connecting the energy and building that familiarity. Um, but if you have anything you want to ask, I can see if that will help bring a message through. Hmm. I think his energy is helping. It's like helping encourage me to open up more inside, like in the heart. Sort of like getting more comfortable with showing myself. Mm. Yes, it's like finding how to have a more mutual sharing of energy, like a cycle. like sending more love to receive more love. Mm. Huh. Don't know how to explain it yet. So earlier we were speaking about how with these different names of entities or to, you know, so like mentioning Satan or Lucifer, like, you know, what do these names really matter? Because when it comes to spirit and energy, names don't tend to be as important as um, the way that humans use names, that people want to label everything. But I think when you have a name like Jesus, there are so many people around the world that are pouring their deepest love into this figure and this name. And when we really allow ourselves to connect from that same perspective, we are actually connecting to the cumulative love of all the people sharing their energy toward that being. It's like this pool of grace and energy and love and worship. And so that name, that human name that we give to these different beings and the energies that we feel in association with those different beings are really rather the energy that people give to those names. And also how we are individually choosing to see that, to feel that, what perspective we're coming from, religious upbringing. Okay. Let me get out of the way for a minute again and see if there's a more direct message that wants to come through. Hmm. I'm getting the sense that there are some of these spirits of a particular fame who do not wish to perpetuate that trajectory because they simply want it to be about the message. They do not wish to be worshipped. They do not wish to be placed on a pedestal. They want people to realize their own strength and power as creator beings and as source, God, Christ consciousness, however you want to call it, recognizing each person that we are all equally made up of that no one is above or below us. The equality of unconditional love. Hmm. Hmm. feel like it's going to take me a bit to understand some of these things that I'm just realizing. It's like certain pieces being put together from a jigsaw puzzle. I suppose the theme is to repeat the equality of unconditional love. Being love. Not needing to direct it or focus it, but radiate it. Letting it flow as it will. Hmm. Something I could always stand to do more of, I suppose. Hmm. Are there any more questions that you guys have? How can I better connect with him and archangels for my highest potential in spiritual growth? Invite them in, send your love towards them, ask, be patient to receive. I find that when I'm connecting with higher energies, I tend to sit in a more upright posture. Um, and eliminating distractions can be useful. But usually saying something loud with your voice. The voice is very powerful, is helpful. Like I could say, I would like to invite an archangel of the highest good to come to me to help raise my energy and help me connect with the divine. Are there any messages from the angels that could assist us at this time? Be love, feel love, radiate. I feel like I could just sit here all day and bask in the energy, but it probably wouldn't be too interesting for you guys. Okay, one last question, then I'll leave you alone and catch you on another live. Yeah, what is it that you'd like to ask? You think they're encouraging us to love ourselves more too? And that in doing so, it's going to help radiate outward. It's like, why does that feel difficult sometimes to love oneself? Hmm. It's like, how can we increase our unconditional love? That feeling of just being and radiating without needing to control or focus or direct it. How can we just embody it? How can I be it? Is it simply a choice? Is it a habit, a practice? Uh, all these things, surely. Hmm. Hmm. Kind of feel like I like the idea of becoming, where if I practice something often enough, do something often enough, it becomes my life experience then. So that can be very powerful. And what do I want that life experience to be? What do I want it to feel like? What is the focus, the direction? Or is that something that I need to plan at all? Simply just be, radiate, be comfortable in becoming a unique energy signature. Hello. Hello and welcome, Adriana. Let's see. In what way do you think that Enoch walked with God that is different than the 99%? Do you think that actually became Metatron, or Metatron already exists? Well, I'm not too familiar with Enoch or Metatron, but in this idea of walking with God, I think that is a very important concept. And the way that I would put it is, you know, what God is to us is an idea, a perception of what we think God is like, what we think heaven is like. And to me, walking with that is carrying it within oneself. That same honor and love and reverence that you would have towards God or towards Jesus or any other religious figure or deity. What if you carry that with yourself and radiate it outward in all directions? That same love, that same sense of divinity that can be held, that it can illuminate all around us. You can allow it to shine on everyone and everything in your presence. To not withhold that for a concept of God or a particular name or spirit. To give that energy freely towards any who would look upon it. feel like that's kind of the theme that's being presented tonight. To take that concept, that divine radiance, and create it here and now. Yeah, become one with all that is. I feel that we're all part of that. That we're all equal parts. That we're all worthy of love and grace, divine energy. That we can all carry that, hold that, radiate that, and really create this global community of light, love, and brilliance. Once we start giving equally, once we start loving unconditionally, mm, you know, one quote from Jesus that I really liked. If I'm not misquoting it, but he said, "I am the Son of God, and you are all my brothers and sisters." And I think that for some reason the meaning of that had become lost, and that he was saying that all of you are too, equally. But it took him to step up to recognizing that he was not less than this concept of God or divinity, and neither is anyone else less than that. Neither is any soul, any expression of life or existence. Hmm. I am finding that doing these live streams, the influence of others joining and messaging is really helping me to tap into some things that I might not otherwise be tapping into. It's really Do I think he is the only one who has done something like that on Earth? Or is that something that many beings, humans here, have and can do, but he's just a main example? Are you referring to like Metatron? Because I don't really know. I don't really know the story of Metatron or Enoch, but I think a lot of the things that have happened on Earth have involved collective energies. And we can be part of those collective energies. I don't really know too many of the stories, but I think what's important to draw from them is what inspires you, what energy you can gain now from the fascination you might hold for some of these things, and how can you carry that forward into your own way of being that might contribute to your most powerful way of living, where you can be that most powerful carrier of divine energy, of unconditional love and radiance and brilliance. How can we each be inspired to be like some of these figures, the things, the stories that we've heard about them, the things that we would like to believe? What fills us with the greatest sense of awe and wonder? Hmm. All right, I think I am getting ready to bring this live stream to a close. But if there are any further questions to get in before the end, I will address those. I definitely encourage anyone to reach out to spirit and receive energy for themselves, because it's really something that is difficult to put into words. But it really continues to inspire me and charge me up, keep me going through much of it. I agree, brother. Whether here or on your own time or both, can you pray for me that I'm able to fully overcome myself, attachments, and addictions so that I can be more clear and hear God? Yeah. Shine. Is it um there's that little symbol. Is it shine or like shine? Edo? Hmm. Okay. I will make this prayer that the one so named and the focus of this conversation receives support in overcoming these attachments and addictions, to rise up and to receive higher energies. And I know you can. This is something that we are all stepping through now as a collective. I also feel I am overcoming myself and my attachments and my addictions. Sometimes there is a willpower behind doing so, to take those things that are no longer serving us and to replace them with something better. It's something that we all can do, and it's a journey, it's a practice, it's progress. And this progress does move us upward in our trajectory. Absolutely. It can have a run on cumulative effect. If we commit to ourselves, commit to on. So many of us are in this journey together, and we can support each other in this journey. And anybody who has participated, watching this now or seeing this later, I I look forward to us sharing and participating in each other's journeys, and each becoming radiant beacons of light and the quality of unconditional love. I know we can. We can do this. We can do this together. We are doing this together. And this is where we will have our greatest success collectively. We do not need to be alone in these journeys. And I will go ahead and end here, and I wish you all a good night and look forward to interacting with you again